Yo, everybody. What is up? Your friendly neighborhood physical therapist, Dr. Ryan Welton, coming to you from just outside the Tampa Bay area. If you are new to following me, I got a chronic pain clinic. I call it the I've failed everything clinic because that's what people tell me when they come in. Nobody knows what's wrong with me, or I'm tired of the medical system. I've tried everything, that kind of thing, right? I get exceptional results in that patient population. I have published statistically historic papers in readership in the field of orthopedics that is pinned to my social media, Welton Methods. You can look at the multiple times, not just an average paper, but the biggest journals in the entire world, not just orthopedics, medical journals in the entire world, multiple times what they get in readership 3 to 5 years after publication, year by year. You can look at the graphic. Anyways, you can join my group, my school group right here, where I am teaching much more in depth. In my school group, I am teaching clinical and cash-based clinic insights in teachings in there. I recommend joining that. That's my free VIP group. You can click the link right there, join it right now, and I will see you in that group. Okay, so today I just had a very interesting eval. Now, if you read my paper called Root Cause of Sacroiliac Joint Dysfunction on my website, weltonmethods.com, which is one of the papers that made medical history and readership statistically. If you read that paper, in there, I showed 2 cases of foot drop, okay, where the person had foot drop, or like 3 out of 5 strength, and I realigned their SI joints and their foot drop disappeared right in front of your eyes. It links right to my YouTube video. I put it in the paper. Okay. Now, when I first saw that, I was like, oh my God, like I didn't even know that could happen, type thing, right? The more I researched it, there are rare cases that have been documented in medical history of SI joint issues causing foot drop, right? So, because your SI joint can actually refer into these areas and not just cause pain, cause weakness, I've found, can cause tingling. Basically, all the symptoms of sciatica here and here can cause that. So that's why, it's a great imitator of sciatica. But I just evaluated a patient, right? She just sat across from me. And been all kinds of places type of thing, right? And typical story, pretty debilitating back pain across her back. But in order to see if a patient belongs in my clinic, I asked him, do you have bowel and bladder issues, right? So I'm ruling out cauda equina. Do you have bowel and bladder issues since you hurt your back? No. Okay. And then I, saddle anesthesia, that kind of thing, right? I asked him that. Okay, fine. No symptoms of cauda equina syndrome. And then I checked the strength because I want to know if these people, if somebody has myotone weakness, right? Because there could be something serious going on in their spine. And this person, so I'm checking her strength, right? So I check her quad. I check her, abductors, adductors. I, have her hold, check her hip flexor, right? I check her quad. Yeah, it was like a 4+ out of 5. I check her dorsiflexors. It was like a 4 out of 5 on the left. We're talking about the left side. A 4 out of 5. And then I go down to her great toe, and I'm pushing down on it on the left side, and it's easy to break. In fact, she's giving me not much resistance, right? So I go over to the other toe, and she's got full strength in that. She can resist me. So I go back over to the toe that's weak, right? And I'm like, can you resist me? She's like, I am. And I'm like, So I asked her, I said, did this, when this happened to you, because you've seen, surgeons, all that stuff, she told me, I said, did they want to do surgery on you? And she said, they were talking about it. They wanted to do physical therapy first, but that was a couple of years ago type thing, right? So, so what I did was in my head, okay, since I've seen multiple cases of foot drop in my career, because I basically have an SI joint clinic. It's extraordinarily rare, but I've seen it, okay? And it's documented in my root cause of SI joint dysfunction paper you can find on my website, okay? You can watch the videos, watch me open it up and watch their strength come back. And so I bring her out into my clinic. I have her extend back. My left thumb rises superiorly on her PSIS. My right thumb goes inferiorly. They both should go inferiorly. Okay, so per my paper, that is an upslip of the pelvis. Okay, so I pulled on her left leg, brought that back down into alignment. Later on her sides, and what I did was gap open her SIS like this. Okay, and I gapped open her SIS like that to open up the outflare of her pelvis, because in that paper I proposed that it's caused by SI joint dysfunction is caused by an upslip and or outflare of the pelvis. I generally don't have issues getting SI joint better, and I do it for a living. So I got that open, and then she also had a sacral torsion. I rotated that back. I find it goes hand in hand in the chronic pain world. So what I was interested in seeing after is not about the pain. I figured the pain in her back would go away, which it did when I opened it up, right? But I immediately said, "Have a seat," and I tested her her strength again. So I tested her quad. That was a 5 out of 5. Okay, so I was like, "Oh, well, that increased, great." And then I tested her dorsiflexion. It was, I would say, a 5 out of 5, maybe 4 plus, but hovering around 5 minus, something like that, right? And then I went to that toe, and it had better strength, but it still wasn't there. Okay, so what did I do? How do I handle this patient, right? Like, what do I do, right? So I told her, I said, it's extraordinarily rare, but I have an SI joint clinic, so I've seen it, that you can get weakness from SI joint dysfunction. And we just proved that your quad and the dorsiflexure, L3-4, came back when I opened up your SI joint per this chart, right? You can get all symptoms, including weakness in here. I said, having said that, I said to her, that toe, which L5 myotome, that toe did not come back. Okay, so I said, here's what I want you to do. I said, I want you to go see this orthopedic that I trust in Tampa. Very conservative orthopedic. And I want you to see this orthopedic, okay? You should get another MRI of your back. They can order it for you, and go see him and find out what's going on in there, because it could be nerve, right? I said, but, all this crazy back pain you have that you can barely stand up and move we just proved that was SI joint dysfunction and sacral torsion shear, because I realigned your SI joint and your sacrum, and you weren't able to even extend back more than like 5 degrees, and then you had full extension and no pain. So we proved that that's what that was caused by. So what I'm going to do is have her get an MRI, have her go see this doctor, this orthopedic surgeon, and they'll order an MRI, I'm sure, to find out why she has L5 weakness. And then I told her we can, stabilize her back. Okay. Her SI joint sacral torsion shear. So I'll put her on my SI protocol, strengthen her gluteus medius, okay, to bring down the upslip, strengthen her adductor group to open up the outflares, okay, and then her tailbone's twisted like this. So I'll strengthen the right piriformis to bring that back, okay. Usually takes about 5 to 8 weeks with me. 1 out of 10 take longer. You can't predict them, but usually about 5 to 8 weeks-ish with me. I'm not worried about stabilizing her back, and her L3 myotome and L4 myotome should come back, but that L5 wasn't coming back when I opened it up. So to some extent, so I want her to see an orthopedic about that. Okay. So anyways, it's an interesting case because these are very rare and very rarely documented in medical history. But now this is like maybe my third or fourth time seeing it in 5 years of doing this. So, one lady, I'll never forget it. She had been everywhere, the most prestigious hospitals in the United States. They worked her up for freaking everything, right? Genetic testing. She had one thigh, a third of the size of the other thigh. And I was like, so I performed what I'll talk about and click the link below, join my school group, okay? And I performed what I teach, what I've been teaching the group and teach is one of my functional SI diagnoses. So she she was weak squatting single leg stand. She could barely get back up, right? I realigned her SI, held it open, the outflare open, had her stand back up, and boom, she popped right back up. She's like, wow, I have more strength in that leg. I'm like, wow. So not only did she have weakness, which can happen in the quad and all that, like we just talked about, but she also had atrophy, like significant, because you can get weakness in here. No one could figure out what was wrong with this one. I'll never forget her. No one could figure out what was wrong with her and why she had a quad 1/3 of the size of the other one. But when I opened up her SI joint, the sneaky little bugger, her strength returned immediately, popped right up from a single leg stance, which she couldn't do it before that. So that told me that that's what was wrong with her. Okay. This SI joint craziness, I'm telling you, I teach people how to open and run highly successful cash-based businesses, 7-figure model based on one therapist, not have you can do more if you want, but you can have a whole team in there if you want, but which I teach in the school group. Click the link below and join. But I show you how to target these people and bring them in. These people, a lot of them have given up hope. They can't sleep, they can't sit, they can't extend back, they can't bend forward. It's horrific what these people go through. And I learned in school, basically, SI joint was some pesky thing. And then I started seeing people in here, if you read my sacral paper, that told me 57% of them, they thought about ending it, And I'm like, for SI joint, And then I'm like, I started to realize what was happening is that they had tried all these things that showed up on the X-ray and MRI, but they had this mechanical issue, and it was causing shearing back pain in their back and radiating all across their back, or not even near their SI joints, just up in the thoracic or the lumbar or down in here or here. Like I learned in school, basically, it had to be around your SI joint. No, man, start doing my SI protocol. Check out what happens. Open up these people's SI joints, and you'll see a whole different world, I think, that you didn't know existed like I did. Okay. So very interesting case. I'm going to make sure everything's okay with her lumbar spine and have her get her MRI and see a spine doctor. But as far as the SI joint sacral torsion shear, which was her main complaint, the back pain, I'm not too worried about fixing it. I just put her on my SI protocol and strengthen her right piriformis. So that's that. Okay. Anyways, I am out. Peace. Love you all.